Music matters. Hey, Phileas.
Yes, sir.
How you feeling, man?
I feel this, but yeah,
I feel it.
You got it.
Affiliate, Phyllis.
I feel this.
Phyllis.
Mhm.
I got you.
Mhm.
It sounds like I feel this.
Yeah, or syphilis, or.
Yeah, man. I appreciate you doing this with me.
I appreciate you
Call
having
him
me.
Philly. Call him Philly.
Philly?
Philly.
Philly
His
Boy
name
Wonder.
is Philly Boy Wonder.
Where's Philly Boy Wonder come from?
Literally, it was originally Philly, right?
Mhm.
But then one day I was.
You can wear these
I
if you
was-
want. You can hear yourself.
Yeah,
If you don't want to, you don't have to. It's whatever.
But I was slapping Stevie Wonder one day, right? And it's like that's one of my like idols overall from like way back in the day. I would slap him all the time, listen like "Isn't She Lovely," "Superstition," all those songs, right? And then I was like, okay, Philly is kind of bland because I had it for like a year straight, or just Philly. But then I'm like, ooh, I want to spice it up a little bit because when you look at Philly, a lot of things come up. You know, the Philadelphia Eagles or like Philly rappers like Uzi and Meek Mill stuff. It's like I want to separate myself from all those people. You know.
Did you grow up on a lot of Stevie Wonder stuff like that, like
Yeah,
old soul?
Of course. Because like it literally came from me just wanting that addition in my name of like going to Philly of that name that I had, that nickname I was called since I was a kid. But then I wanted to add the Wonder part because I'm like I love, what he makes and it kind of inspired me to do what I want to do.
Where's your real name come from? Like, where's the
That's
Phyllis
just
come from?
Well, see, I'm Ethiopian, right?
Yeah.
And, like that's not even a common name back where I'm from. Like because you have like names like Abel, like even the Weeknd, his name's Abel.
Yeah.
Right? That's like a really common name.
That's
But,
the only other place I've heard that name
yeah,
from.
Exactly, Abel or like Abel or something like that.
Mhm.
And with me, it's like that's kind of an uncommon. Like my dad just randomly picked that name because it was a king from back in 600 BC, something like that.
Okay.
And he like invented the first form of currency. He's like, okay, King of Phyllis or King of Philos. That's how you say my name. And overall, you gotta stop. You gotta stop with that. And overall, like it just came from that king from back in the day. And he's like, I want my son to grow up to be a king. And then he kind of gave me that name.
That's a badass story. I always like it when like names have like actual
right?
stories behind them. It makes stuff so much more interesting.
Yeah.
Like my name was like my great grandpa's name. I mean, there's nothing more than that, but yeah, it's cool when names like that
I
happen.
mean, Dante's fire too.
Yeah, I like my name. It's cool. I never want to have. When I have kids, I don't want to name them like something. There's a bunch of other people. Like I wouldn't name my kids like John or like Dave or some shit like that. Like, it's cause there's so many. It's like
something like that. Yeah,
it's
people like that.
yeah. It's just like it's the same thing. I don't know. It doesn't.
Yeah.
It's less repetitive. So your latest track. Let's talk about that a little bit. Where'd that beat come from? Because that melody and just like the electronics in that, I love that beat.
It came from Black Mayo. He's a YouTube producer, but he also has worked with like actual big artists as well.
How'd you get in contact with him?
I hit him through DMs, and then he talked about him just getting off his BeatStars. You know what I mean? And originally I heard it on YouTube, but it got deleted afterwards, and I'm like, I need that. Because I heard so many from him, whether it was like snippets on his Instagram or like him posting something on like his BeatStars or whatever it was, and I'm like, this is the one. I like that one a lot. And it was an old song too. I remember I heard that beat like 2 years ago, and then I recently wanted to record it and just do it.
So you bought that beat off BeatStars, and then you kind of started building from there.
And yeah.
That's cool. So did you start with the hook, or did you start with the verses?
I was just freestyling in my room one night. I was like, just humming out the melody over and over and over again because I just kind of felt it. When you kind of hear a song and then you instantly just hear a melody to it, regardless of whether it's an actual song that was made by a full artist or just a beat by itself, like it just comes to you naturally,
Yeah.
And I kind of started humming it over and over and over again, and eventually I wrote it out like a couple weeks after that.
That's interesting to me that you like bought that beat because it sounds very cohesive to a lot of your other stuff. Like it's all like electronic based with like lots of synths and like those strong electronic melodies. Was that kind of intentional?
I love synths. It was not though. That's the thing. That song was a little. That's not even my favorite song personally, to be honest with you. And like compared to other stuff that I'm working on right now, like I like that song. I put it out. I enjoyed what it did, because also it also has my most listens right now, which is cool. But I want to go a lot higher beyond just what I can do with that song. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I do like it a lot though.
What do you like that you're working on right now?
Very different vibes when it comes to like me trying to do more wavy and you could say psychedelic type rap kind of thing. You know what I mean? Where I want to put a lot more like feeling into it rather than just me. I mean, I love doing turn up music as well. Like I want to go crazy with all kinds of sounds, but right now I'm really trying to just experiment and try all different kinds of sounds that make you feel certain ways.
Yeah, I feel it, man.
You know what I
The one thing I noticed too, like when I saw that track on Spotify, like that vertical video, like the aerial shot, that was so sick.
Yeah, with the drone.
Yeah, where's that shot at?
That was on some random parking lot in LA, like with a helipad on it.
Who shot it?
It was our friend Quinn. He's a homie. He's a
with the drone and everything?
Yeah.
That's sick. Did you want to go? Do you have a certain angle you want to attack with your visuals rather? Like, is there a certain kind of thing you want to see your visuals look like? Like, are you trying to make more psychedelic looking stuff, or like, or more like that film? Because a lot of your stuff seems like almost like it could pull from like an old '90s commercial or stuff like that. Just like
I want it to be very vibrant. I want to be very colorful. You know, I want to also make it unique. I don't want to just do the basic like having a bunch of girls and fancy cars and like a video. I want to have like an actual story. You know what I mean? With what I did recently, it was more visuals. Like there wasn't much to it. You know. But as I go forward with the ideas I have afterwards, I want to like do a lot of just crazy, vibrant ideas. You know what I mean?
Do you get annoyed with rappers talking about like very stereotypical stuff like that, like just girls and cars and stuff like that?
I'd be a hypocrite if I said that because I like listening to that. You know, every now and then. I also would occasionally make it too when I'm writing in my room. I'll do some fun stuff. I'm not gonna be some Shakespeare. Oh, you know, like you can't say this. You know what I mean? But like overall, like I definitely want to do something that has more meaning and feel to it.
So when you say you want to kind of attack stories with your videos, do you have like more visions? Like, are you more of a visual thinker in that sense? Like, do you want to go towards stuff that's more story oriented?
Yeah, 100%. Because there's ideas coming in left and right. Even when I'm not doing anything music related, I could be driving, just like going to the store to get groceries, and an idea will pop into my head, and I'll write it in my notepad on my phone every single time.
So when you like get those ideas and you write them down, do you usually try to like jump on that and attack that creativity like right when you get home or when you can, or is that kind of something you'll let them sit and you'll be like, okay, I'm gonna sit down and write and I'm gonna attack all these ideas that I've written down? Like, what's your writing process kind of like?
It really just depends on how I'm feeling, because there'll be times where I slack off. You know, I definitely need to get on it a lot more than I actually do. But when I do it, it's really just a consistent writing scheme of me being in my room for at least an hour, 2 hours plus, you know, when I'm not doing stuff with the people I work with, like Shane, you know, the manager. But overall, yeah, I'm really just writing over and over and over again in my room all night.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Do you, you kind of strike me as somebody who would like take inspiration from things outside of music as well. Like, do you read it all? Are you into films and stuff like that?
Yeah, all the time. When it comes to film, even reading, I love reading articles all the time, every single day. I'll just be looking at new sources of information for me to just take in, whether it's music related or not, you know, and then it kind of can convey into a whole new meaning for me to get inspiration of what I write about, you know?
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Just all different kinds of sources of inspiration. You aren't in school right now, are you?
No, I've been in school in two semesters now.
Did you go to college all after high school?
Yeah, I went to DVC. It was a community college like near where I lived back in the Bay for about like a year and a half, and then I moved here to take a break from it to kind of focus on moving down here and settling. But I'm considering going back, but it's kind of like a back and forth thing in my head. You know what I mean? Because I don't know if that should be a focus for me to take away from what I'm trying to do right now.
Yeah. Why do you want to go back? Could you just think as a backup plan or what?
I do think it'd be wise to have a business degree. When I do attain a lot of money, even if it's not based on me going down a path with a degree, I want to be able to like manage businesses that I have. You know what I mean? When it comes to like me running companies and not just being a person that has an abundance of money, I want to know what to do with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. On the management end of stuff, is like having Shane around like helped a lot, like on that end.
100%. You know, he doesn't think I appreciate him that much, but you know, like there's appreciation there. He does some things, a lot of things.
Yeah, like what kind of stuff, like particularly, like what opportunities have arisen just simply because you've had a manager? Like, has it just been handling stuff on the business end more? Or?
When it comes to just like connecting, you know, and going to certain events, like there's a lot of people I wouldn't have known about, or a lot of things I wouldn't have gone to without having that knowledge from him. You know what I mean? So.
Are you somebody who has like the ambition, or not ambition, I guess, but like the know-how to go and reach out to people through like Instagram or whatever, like LinkedIn, stuff like that? Are you kind of tapped in with a lot of people in that way?
I feel like I've gotten a lot better at it as of recently.
Yeah, because I'm not the best at it either. It's kind of a tough thing to do.
I mean, it's still pretty hard. I'm not anywhere near like being that great at it, but like I'm getting better at it every single day when I try to just DM people randomly, send emails, or just contact people in any way, shape, or form I can. But like, I never really use LinkedIn that much though. Yeah. But overall, like it's not too hard. It's just a matter of how you can talk to those people and what you can relate to. You know, when it's business or friendship, depends on what route you want to go down with that.
And the hard thing with that too is like it's building these genuine connections versus like strictly business connections, and it's kind of balancing the two.
Well, you want to make sure that those people know that you care about them. You know what I mean? You want to establish that connection that like we're both people, like this is business, but you know it can go beyond just that. You know what I mean? Because then that will allow people to be able to want to do things for you and help you out and help you meet people and help you do things to push you further and wherever you want to go.
It's got to be mutual too.
Of course, 100%.
Like it can't just be like one person doing a bunch of stuff for somebody.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's completely a two-way street. Have you reached out to anybody you want to work with on tracks recently, or anybody who wants to be on a future project?
Yeah, a couple of singers, both male and female, that are also at the same stage as me when it comes to like being on the rise and not having a lot of notoriety to their name. You know what I mean? And then also like YVS Village was that one LA rapper that you are gonna interview eventually. And besides that, just yeah, those people. Yeah, when it comes to making music.
That's cool. Yeah, it's cool that you're kind of doing that because I feel like, especially like in terms of singing, because it's like I feel like your music would work very well with a sung hook from like a very strong vocalist.
Spice to it, you know. I want to have flavor. You know what I mean? Like I wanna make it just interesting, and I know that there's a lot of things I can do on my own, but collaboration is key. That's the most important thing. You want to be able to make cool projects with other people.
You ever thought about dabbling in the singing game, or you're not?
I gotta get better at that. That's a whole practice. You know, you gotta just practice your vocal cords and work on it because it's a muscle at the end of the day. You know, every single day if you keep working at it and just work out like your vocal cords, you will get better eventually. I do believe everyone can learn how to sing.
That's how I feel, and it's like I do think there's like a threshold of like talent. Like I feel like there's some people who can only get so good at singing, but everybody can become like technically good at singing. To me, the difference is what separates people is like having an interesting voice and having something to say.
Yeah, exactly. Like not everyone can be like a Bruno Mars or like you know, whatever, but like everyone can use their voice in the way that works best for them. You know, whether it's them hitting higher notes or having a more softer, lower voice, because there's many different kinds of singers too. Like I said, Bruno Mars is like a very high pitched, crazy range vocal singer, right? But then someone like a Billie Eilish or like an Amy Winehouse is more in like the softer, like, you know, melodies and tones where they don't use as much weight on their voice.
Yeah. I mean, and for me, like, on a subjective level, too, I feel like I'm super into singers who have, like, really weird, like, unconventional voices. Yeah. Like, Jessie, I love Jessie Reyez, if you know who that is.
I've heard, yeah, I don't listen to her that much.
Yeah, she's great. Or, like, Brian Sella from the Front Bottoms, just, like, not instrumentalists, just, like, vocalists who have, like, really weird and obscure, like, ranges and just sing in a very particular way. And I feel like that gives them a trademark kind of style. And I feel like, yeah, and even in terms of you, I feel like that's something you kind of established early. It's like a lot of the stuff you put out so far has seemed like it's been like a very intentional like sound and vibe, and it's worked well together. Like it's cohesive sounding.
Yeah, a little bit. You know, I dabble with it. Yeah, it definitely is a cohesive mix because they all kind of sound like me, and I know I can keep bouncing off that sound and just going on different avenues of trying to like just get better at what I'm doing.
Yeah, 100%. Do you want to intend to like pursue a specific sound, or do you want to be an artist that branches out in a bunch of weird different directions and creative different outlets?
I want to be known as just a genre bender, like someone who can have an album that is not just you expect one form of music. You know what I mean? Because it's cool when you have like someone that makes like a straight boom bap album or a straight alternative album or whatever. You know, but I like the artists that kind of spice it up and add just different sounds, and it doesn't sound the same. You know, and it's a whole like cohesive mix. Like they're all different, but they all work together because it also tells a story that connects. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%.
So that's why I feel like I haven't reached that point yet. Like I'm still working at it every single day, but it's something that I strive for, 100%.
You seem to pull inspiration from a bunch of different genres. Too. Do you like listen to mostly hip hop, or do you listen to a lot of other stuff?
Yeah, like hip hop is definitely my favorite genre, but when it comes to like R&B, classic soul, you know, rock, pop. Like all the genres really. Like there's something to pull from every single source of music.
Where do you think your love for those genres comes from?
Really, like I think just listen. I listened to music like early on as a kid, and I kind of found it myself because both my parents are like really foreign. You know, what I mean, they weren't really that experienced when it came to knowing the culture about what's going on with American music and stuff like that. So I learned it all by myself, and there's not really like a straight story of how I did it. It was more like I just picked up my iPod one day when I was like a little kid. I just started listening to music and saw what I found, and I'm like, yo, I like this a lot. And then I just kind of bounced off that and kept learning more and more about it.
Did you grow up with music in the house?
Yeah, 100%. Because I got my speaker when I was really young, like my first like Bose speaker when I was a little kid as a birthday present. I just started connecting that back in the day with like the aux cord. I don't even think we had Bluetooth back then. A while ago. Yeah, so I had like my little short ass cord that I had. And I just put the phone down, just play music in my room, and I just jump up and down and play. You know. You
ever have one of like the iPod Nanos, like the one with the little button?
Yeah, I did.
I had like the first one, like the one that didn't have a screen. That was just like a little square with like the circle button and like the play button. And then I had the one that was like a little bit bigger with like the small little screen.
Those were the times, bro. Those were the times.
And you could play like I remember there was like a couple games you could play on like the one with the screen.
Yeah. Even back in the day with like the DS, I remember like you could like play little Pokemon games on it, right? And then you had like the soundtrack on the side, and you could like slap music while playing.
Yeah, bro.
So it was a cool time.
You ever use PictoChat on the DS back in the day, bro?
I did.
Yep.
Dude, that was a throwback. That was like 5th grade, huh?
Yeah, something like that.
Ago. Yeah.
I remember growing up, I would like me and all my neighbors had like DSs and like little DS lights and stuff and the Game Boys, and we'd all like picto chat from like house to house, like all my neighbors. That's like such a funny memory. I haven't thought about that in so long.
That was like my form of texting before I had a phone.
Hell yeah.
I like communicating with my classmates back in the day, just going to the courtyard when we were little kids and just like do a little picto chat thing.
Mm-hmm. You use social media a lot?
Hmm?
Do you use social media a lot? Or do you try to stay kind of off that stuff?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of have to, because at this stage in my
I feel
career,
that.
like you have to be as consistent as possible, you know, when it comes to putting out content, because how can you expect to be known if you don't put things out every single day, you know, and just like constantly be remembered, because it's very easy to be forgotten, you know, and once you're at that stage when you're already like popping, it doesn't really matter. Like if you have millions of followers who are waiting for you to like drop something and be like there for you whenever you have something out, and they're patiently waiting, you could have 0 posts, that's fine, but at this stage you need to just keep using it. I use it a lot more than I want to though. Like, I'll be lying if I said I really enjoyed it, but it's more like, yeah, I kind of have to.
I find that's a problem with a lot of people, like especially artists and people who are trying to do things creatively. It's like to a certain extent, you really do have to use social media to like promote yourself and promote your music, but it's like finding that balance of like how much do I have to use it versus how much do I want to use it. Yeah, it's like
it's a pull.
Yeah,
it can really pull you from society. Like it can drag you to a dimension that you don't really want to be in because you're like cut off from the rest of society, is constantly being on your phone, you know, in a world that doesn't really exist.
It's like a pull and tug type thing.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like one thing that I find myself getting super wrapped up in is like I'll go on Instagram to do like a post for Above the Bridge, or like I'll go on Twitter like making a tweet for Above the Bridge or whatever, and I'll just find myself scrolling, like just scrolling and scrolling and scrolling for no reason. It gets like I'm originally using this for work, but it gets to the point where it's like now I'm using this for entertainment. It's kind of a waste of time.
You're stuck in that loop, exactly, and it's very easy to just not ever leave, because you could be stuck in your bed for hours. Even when you have things to do with your day, you'll be in your bed just scrolling, whether it's TikTok or Instagram or Twitter or whatever, and you can be lost in that cycle for hours.
Are you on that TikTok?
Of course, I have to. I'm trying to be consistent with that too, making videos, just keep getting stuff that applies to the algorithm to boost that engagement. You know what I mean? Because everything is connected. Everything's an algorithm. That's how everything
is an algorithm. I started to realize that really quickly.
Yeah, exactly. Whether it's YouTube or just literally anything, really. Emails, like anything. It's wild.
If you look at the people who are like most successful on the internet and just making money in a variety of ways on the internet, they all just understand these different algorithms. It's like there's a YouTube algorithm, there's a TikTok algorithm, there's an Instagram algorithm. It's like all these things just come down to what makes the companies the most money. It's like YouTube is going to promote the videos that get watched for the longest amount of time, because the more you watch, the more ads you consume, and the more money they make. So it's like they're going to keep pushing videos to get people that have really good audience retention.
And it's like low-key a win-win, because it's like they're making a lot of money, but you also have the chance to blow up whatever you want to blow up. For example, whether it's a brand that you want to sell, whether it's your like music, whether it's your art, or whatever the case may be, you can end up expanding off what they're doing, you know, when it comes to their infrastructure, their company.
100%. It's like it benefits them, but it can also benefit you if you use it in the right way. Do you feel like you're missing out on anything from moving down to LA from the Bay and not going to school or anything? Like, are there any of your friends from up there that you kind of miss and stuff?
I mean, when it comes to that, yeah, I do miss people. I can't just say, oh, I moved here, like, you know, screw everybody. But like, there's nothing really else for me back home besides just home, like my family, because most of my family's there, and I got family in the East Coast as well. But most of the people I know, whether it's friends or acquaintances or family, is in the Bay Area, and I love going there to see those people. But other than that, there's nothing really there that kind of pulls me there as of right now. I want to go back there when I'm older. Like, that's where I want to get my home and, like, live out my days.
Same, bro.
Yeah. But when it comes to, like, what I need to do right now and where I feel like I have to be, whether it's, like, the career in music, whether it's the career in networking or building my brand, et cetera, it's, like, I got to be here.
To me, that's the dream. It's, like, move down here.
100%.
Get a bag, get your dreams, like accomplish everything, and then come back, and then go back and bring everything that you have back to the Bay. That's what I want to do.
Exactly. And the Bay is like, it's damn expensive, but you know,
it's crazy expensive. I mean, so is here, but
it's home though.
Yeah.
Like nothing feels like SF or Oakland. You know, they're just like those iconic cities to me, because I was born in Oakland too, and like I was there for my early childhood before I moved up to East Bay. There's just nothing like it to me. I don't know. LA's cool. I do like it, but I know I could not stay here. When it comes to like finalizing my life and like building something beyond just me striving to achieve my career goals, you know what I mean?
That's exactly how I feel. Like my dream is like 15 years from now, 20 years from now,
Oh.
have a above the bridge HQ in LA and have
Yep.
an above the bridge HQ in the Bay, and
Yeah.
and I'll have somebody run the one down here,
It's gonna
and I
happen.
can run the one up there.
I'm telling you, dog, it's gonna happen.
It's gonna happen.
You gotta keep manifesting. I'm telling you.
Yeah, I
You
was
gotta
talking
keep
to
working.
that's like I was talking to Xavier about this last night. And he was saying like you can't say it will happen, or you can't say that it might happen. You gotta say it will happen. It will happen. You gotta speak in the future.
Yeah, because like I always say, like if you believe in yourself, you're already halfway there. Like that's literally the first half of everything in life. Like you obviously can work and work and work, but if you don't believe in what you're doing, eventually you're gonna stop. Eventually you're gonna find more excuses to not continue doing it on a like daily basis. You know, break your habits, break your cycles, and then eventually you're gonna end up being like, oh, I wasted all this time on a goal that I never even really cared about because you stopped eventually. You know what I mean?
That's my favorite Jimmy Page quote. It's I don't believe in myself. I believe in what I'm doing.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's really true.
That's fire.
Yeah.
That's fire. I like that. I'm gonna put that in the loud now. See, I love collecting. That's something else I put in my notes too. Quotes. I love quotes.
I do the same
that
thing.
Energy. Like I read that shit and it helps me out every single day. It kind of pushes me to go further and not like, stop what I'm doing.
Do you believe in like manifestation and kind of just talking stuff you want to do into existence?
100%. But like I said though, it goes hand in hand. I'm not the kind of person to say, oh, if you manifest, you'll get what you want. Like I
Yeah.
can sit on this couch every single day with a beer in my hand and be like, oh, I want a Ferrari. I want this and that. But if I don't work, it's not gonna happen.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? It's a matter of like believing in it, but like I said, put the work in with it as well. Like that's how you get it. And then I can't realistically think of anything you can't do if you don't set your mind to, or if you do set your mind to it. You know what I mean?
No, I fully agree with that, and it's
talking
totally a
about
balance.
Yeah.
It's completely a balance. Like I know plenty of people who talk about their dreams 24/7, but are they really out there doing anything
No,
for them? It's
because
like no.
they want it, but it's a matter of like whether you want it or you need it. Because there is that necessity, there's that feeling, and I know you need above the bridge to go crazy. You need to move out here. You need to do certain things to get to where you want to be. Because those are necessities. It's not like I desire it. Oh, I want it. It's like real. Like you need this in your life, and there's no way you can imagine yourself having a life without it, right?
Yeah, you're right.
Exactly.
I mean, I think that's a good way to think about it. It's like
Exactly.
there's plenty of people who want stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You can want whatever, but it's like, do you really, really, really want it if you're not out there putting everything on the line to get it?
Mm-hmm.
And it's to me, it comes down more than anything to me. It's like just doing something that matters to me. Like doing something that I think is making an impact and pushing things forward and helping people. Like to me, it's like I couldn't go home every day working a 9 to 5 and be happy. That's just not me personally.
Oh yeah, I know. God. Oh yeah, I know. Believe me, I understand.
Yeah.
It's not it. It's not it.
And it
9 to 5
burns
is
a
not it.
fire. It makes you want to work harder.
Yes, it does. But also, it could really. I know there's a lot of people that work 9 to 5s that are trying to
100%.
like, make it in music and
Yeah.
trying to make it in other industry type things, right? More and more creative type careers that are considered unrealistic to people, right? Like a lot of those people will be stuck in that cycle of working the 9 to 5, and then they'll be too tired to chase their dreams because they're just suffering and working hard to provide for themselves. But it takes a toll on your body, it takes a toll on your mind too. When it comes to being creative.
Yeah,
And
100%.
like trying to do something besides that job, besides that school, that creative aspect of your life. That's like the dream job. You know what I mean?
I think that's why a lot of musicians get wrapped up in drugs.
Yeah.
A lot of the time. Because it's like a balance between like, is this a necessity or is this a tool?
Mm-hmm.
Like a lot of creatives use just substances to help them create.
Yeah.
And that can start as something that's very helpful, but it can get to a point extremely quickly
It can be a
that's
bad gateway.
totally detrimental.
Yeah.
And and it gets to the point where you're not using it for creativity, you need it. And so you can't create without it. So then you have to choose between, am I going to stop taking this deadly substance and not be creative anymore and therefore lose my living? Or am I going to keep taking this substance till I die?
Yeah, no. That's what I made sure to get down like right away, because I knew that could happen to me, being stuck in that cycle of like, oh, I need to smoke, I need to do this to like be able to write and be able to be the best version of myself. But in reality, it's not true at all. That's like another form of placebo, if you ask me. Like
I think
it's
it is
thinking,
too.
like, oh, I need this to do this, but in reality, just try to get in that habit of doing it without it.
That's true.
It takes, on average, I think it's like 3 weeks to develop a habit in the brain.
So they say,
when it comes to like the actual like scientific breakdown of it, it's like just getting the habit of not doing it.
They see it. They say 3 weeks to build a habit and then 10,000 hours to master something.
That's what everyone says. The 10,000 hours. I'll never forget. Like this is one of the biggest things. I remember 2 years ago when I was in Oakland. Right, I got into this venue because my cousin knew he had a friend that knew the manager of a venue that YB and Corday was performing at. Right.
What venue?
It was I forgot what it was called. It was in Oakland.
Uh-huh.
I can't remember it, but it was a small venue because back then 2019 this was like around the time he just dropped Kung Fu and stuff like that.
Yeah, I saw him in 2019.
Exactly. Yeah.
I saw him at Harlow's in SAC in 2019,
Uh-huh.
and it was just a little bar show.
Yeah, and it was cool. Like,
Yeah.
'cause he had some clout. Like, people knew who he was, and he had some big songs, but he was nowhere near as big as he is now. You know what I mean? And he was performing in front of like 500 to 800 people, and it was his first Oakland show ever.
Wow.
And I remember I was there because I got a plug to get in for free, and I was able to like help close down the shop and stuff like that. I remember after the show I was with him, and also I don't know, you know who Duckworth is?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was there too. He was cool. This was back when he was also like really low key too.
Uh-huh.
2 years ago. And I helped like close down the shop and like put all the stuff away because you know they needed help like cleaning the place down. And he was there doing like a meet and greet with people. He met like 3 people, and then
Wow.
I happened to be there as well. And then we took a picture and stuff. I got on my Instagram, and we talked for a little bit afterwards. You know, because whenever I'm at those kind of events, like I want to make sure to be talking and like learn as much as I can, and not just go there just be like, oh, you know, there's a celebrity over there, there's a rapper over there. Let me just look at him and then go away. You know what I mean? Like I want to learn as much as I can. And I talked to him, and he just gave me simple advice about the 10,000 hours thing. About like, yeah, just like keep doing your thing, keep putting the hours in the working. Because the one thing about it is consistency. That's like the most important thing out of anything. You could have the drive, and you could even be really good at what you do, but if you aren't consistent, it's never gonna take off. You know what I mean?
He talks about that all the time, like in interviews and stuff. Like in his No Jumper interview, he talks about that.
Yep.
I saw like this video he did with GQ. Like he's always talking about that 10,000 hours thing. It's so like there's so much truth to it.
And he's hard too. He makes good music.
Yeah,
So I believe it.
I love Corday. I feel like
Yeah.
I don't think he realizes how many kids he's inspiring right now.
No.
Like
He's
to
around our
really,
age too.
yeah, it's crazy. And I don't know, bro. Like to me, Corday is somebody who really is making a huge impact on the culture and really impacting
100%.
a lot of kids. And he's just technically, he's such an insane rapper, and you can
Yeah,
tell
he's
he
fire.
works so hard.
That's a dream collab right there.
Yeah.
He'd be hard, and that'd be a unique vibe. But also, like you said though, like the inspiring the kids and stuff like that, and making like great sounds, and he's just going crazy, right?
Mhm.
I'll drop an album. That's like the stage I want to be at, where I can like affect a lot of people in that way. You know what I mean?
Is there a specific message you'd want to spread with like an album?
Well, see, when it comes to like a body of work, everything's gonna be a different story.
Yeah.
A different ideal and a different message. I can't really. There's obviously overall like underlying themes I want to convey when it's like like love and happiness and like just living it up and doing you. But when it comes to like specific messages for each one, I don't really know until I do it.
No, yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Are there any like tracks where you want to tell more of a story? Like, have there been any stories you've been writing, thinking about, like, oh, I could put this into a song or something like that?
That's probably gonna be my next song, to be honest.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that makes a lot of sense. That's cool, man. How does your family feel about your music? Like when you moved out here to LA, how was your family feeling about all that? Were they supportive?
Only one that was supportive was my mom.
Mm-hmm.
But everybody else was saying like, like you just gotta go to school. What are you doing?
Mm-hmm.
What are you doing? They would just tell me like, it's just like, oh, it's cool, but the competition's steep, the competition's heavy. You gotta, you gotta be sure. Like have a plan B, have a plan C, have this and that. And I took all that, to heart a little bit, and I did listen to it. But in reality, I was like, I want to do what I want to do. Because if you're only gonna live one time, why would you not, try at least? Because you can try and fail and still be alright.
Yeah.
What are you gonna lose? Literally, what are you gonna lose by doing anything and not succeeding in? And I'm not saying I have the mindset that I'm not going to. I have the mindset that I am. But I'm saying in the grand scheme of things, there's a lot of people who will try something and not succeed, and they'll be deterred from doing anything else afterwards. It's like, at least you tried it. At least you did it.
And that's why you got to do that when you're young.
Exactly. And it's like, I'm only 21. I just turned 21 years old. It's like, in reality, there's not much I have to lose. And I know that with what I'm doing and how I'm going to go about it, one day that success is going to come eventually.
That's how I feel about everything. Mm-hmm. It's like if you put everything on the line, you might as well do it when you're 20s or when you're 19. Like I'm not even 20 yet. I'm 19 years old. It's like there's literally nothing I have to lose. The way I think about it is like I have at the very least 4 more completely safe years where I can say I'm going to school, I'm doing all this, but it's like in reality what I really want to do is this. And it's like I can have the backup plan of school and not really have to worry about that for another 4 years. And it's like I don't really have to be like in a position where I'm like, oh, if I don't make money off this in the next year, I'm going to lose my house or lose my apartment or whatever. It's like I'm very lucky to be in that position. It's like I think that's why you got to take chances when you're young.
But once again, though, I don't even have the mindset that I'm going to fail at all. I'm just saying that for the sake of conversation, right? Like, I have the mentality like, oh, yeah, no, I'm going to be fine. You know what I mean? But in the grand scheme of things, like, there's not really much to lose. That's the point.
I think when it comes down to it, there's like a certain, if you work hard enough, you have to succeed.
Yeah.
Like I think there's other like predetermined factors or even like random factors that can really impact whether or not you're like ridiculously successful or like get to that totally the next level. But I do feel like if you work there's just a certain amount of work that is undeniable. Like if
Mhm.
you put in your 10,000 hours, I think you'll succeed in some way or another.
There's no such thing as failure. It's just like you quit too soon if you think about it.
I mean that's
Just
like
keep
what I
going.
said the other day. I was saying like, the day that you quit could be the day before you succeed.
Yep, it really could be though. It's crazy.
It's like tomorrow everything could pop and
Yeah.
you'd have no idea.
And you never know, and then you're gonna always be left with the idea of like, wow, what if? And that's something I hate, to be honest with you.
The what
the
ifs.
idea of regret is way worse to me than failure. 100%.
Me too.
I hate that feeling so much of like, oh, I wish, but I didn't do it. Like, what could have been if I did that? What could have been if I did this? It's just that's a terrible feeling to have, rather than just like, oh, at least I tried. At least I did this. You know what I mean?
I don't believe in failure. I
No.
think failure is only. I think you can only fail at something if you stop trying.
Mm-hmm.
As long as you have an opportunity to try something again, you haven't failed yet because you
Mhm.
can keep going.
Also, too, with failure too is like that's also kind of a subjective term, because think about it. With every loss, there's a lesson to learn as well. So
Yeah.
if you have a loss of something and you learn something from it, it wasn't necessarily a failure, because you learned something from it and you're able to move forward, and then not make that same mistake again or do something else better because of that failure.
I think
that
that's
lesson.
even like especially true in the world of creativity.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you can put something out and nobody's rocking with it, and nobody listens to it or whatever.
Now I know it doesn't work.
Yeah, exactly. You just
Like,
learn,
alright.
and you keep learning, and you have to mess up. I really think you have to mess up.
Yeah, 100%. I would be lying to you if I said I didn't already. Like
I've
when
had
it
tons
comes
of
to
mess
certain
ups.
things, like there's mistakes that happen all the time, but that also just leads to the point of where you want to be at eventually.
And you try to
It's
keep
all just
working.
stepping stones.
Yeah, no,
Mhm.
100%. And if you don't fail, you don't know what you need to get better at. It's like if you just keep
Mhm.
winning and winning and winning and winning, eventually you'll be at a point where you have to fail, and then you have more to lose. If
Mhm.
you're failing when you don't have anything to lose, you learn those lessons early, and then you
Mhm.
can use those to build something and get to a point where you don't have to fail anymore.
Yeah, that's why it's dope that humans are imperfect, because it's a constant learning process.
Yeah.
Think about it. If we were perfect, things would be boring.
And different.
Yeah, it'd
Like-
be very different. Yeah, we're all different people.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like we have to be different people. If we were all
Mhm.
the same, there'd
Lame as
literally be no point to live.
Yeah, it's like there's no progress, there's no evolution, there's no like next step. It's just like life is just stagnant. You know.
That's how I feel too about like people trying to be somebody they're not or not be themselves, and it's like sometimes that's hard. When you're in a new environment or you're somewhere where people you're not comfortable with, or maybe you're just like, like you don't have very many close friends, so you're trying to
Yeah.
like act like somebody you're not to other people. I guess I understand sometimes it can be a subconscious thing,
Mhm.
but even beyond that, I think it's so important to just be authentic
Yeah, it is.
and just be who you are. And if somebody doesn't fuck with who you are, they don't deserve to be in your life.
100% not. They're not worth your time. If they
Yeah.
don't appreciate your time already.
Exactly.
I don't know. I mean, you could be you, which is one thing, right? Or you can be somebody else. But it's like there's already that somebody else in existence. Why would you want to just be a duplicate? Why would you want to be a 2.0? It's like no one like you is on this earth, even though people don't believe that. But everyone's unique in their own way. Everyone looks a certain way. Everyone does certain things. You know what I mean? Everyone has a certain mindset. Like there's not anyone that's exactly the same. Even if they're identical twins, there's still different thought patterns. You know what I mean?
I've been thinking about that a lot recently in terms of like people you surround yourself with, because I
Yeah.
feel like with every single individual, there's going to be something that you disagree with what they do, or something that annoys you about them, or something that you're not particularly fond of when it comes to their personality. But it's
Mhm.
like, I think at the end of the day, you have to accept people's character faults and really decide whether or not they're making a positive impact in your life, and
yeah.
if they want the best for you. And if
100%.
they want the best for you, and you guys have a mutual relationship, and that mutual relationship is benefiting both parties, it then becomes easier to look past certain character flaws, or say maybe this person does this sometimes that it's not really for me, it's not my thing, it's kind of irritating.
Mhm.
But if you can look past those things if you know they have your best interest at heart.
And that's like what my mom always tells me. It's like you are who you surround yourself with. You know what I mean? If you are friends with 6 millionaires, you will eventually be the 7 millionaire. That's just how it is.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, because the people you surround yourself with, you develop habits, you develop like little rhythms and patterns you get into of how you do your things. They help you out with your things, and you help them out with theirs. It's a whole process. When you have a team, it's always easier instead of doing it all alone. You know what I mean? Whether it's any process, whether it's building a company, whether it's trying to be a musician or a YouTube above the bridge type thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
I'll move your microphone. Hold up. Keep going though.
But yeah, it's always good to have a team, and especially when you're on the same path and you're all like in the winner's mindset, you are bound to win because you are surrounded by just that, and you think that way, so you're gonna always be in that kind of space.
Is that how you felt like living in around so many creative people and like being in LA? Like, what specific opportunities do you think you've gotten from being in LA?
Just being able to work with certain people on songs that are going to be released soon,
Mm-hmm.
and being able to go to certain events where there are big artists and other important type people at these events that I can meet to and network and connect with as well. You know what I mean? So basically, just whether it's me going to a place or whether it's me working with people, it's kind of those two biggest things when it comes to being surrounded by creativity all the time. Because there's always stuff going on around you. You know, there's every single day you can go out and there's gonna be somebody you see that is into music or that is into art, that's into anything creative, especially in LA because it's the hotspot for everything.
Mm-hmm.
Hollywood's right there, and everyone wants to do the same thing, kind of just make it in some kind of industry.
Do you feel like when you were in the Bay, there weren't as many people who were trying to do a similar thing that you were surrounded by?
No, the Bay has a lot of culture, but when it comes to like the music scene, especially in rap, I feel like it's kind of empty. It's kind of hollow. There's not really much there, and it sucks because it has a really unique culture. Like there's obviously a culture that we both know very well because it's a more local sound that everyone from the Bay will know about, and obviously there's similar sounds in Detroit as well. But people that are outside of it won't really know that sound or really appreciate that sound as much, and it's like we need to have more things sprouting out from there that are bigger. Because when you think of those major cities, right, you're gonna think of in music or even industries in general. You're gonna think about New York. You're gonna think about Miami. You're gonna think about Chicago, even Toronto. You're gonna think about LA. You know what I mean? There's many different scenes, but the Bay's kind of that one spot on the map that's kind of, I wouldn't say insignificant, but I'd say not appreciated as highly.
I don't think it's appreciated, and I think it has a very specific sound too, especially in hip hop.
Yeah, especially in hip hop.
That's why I've heard a lot of rappers trying to get out of the Bay, because if you don't fit into that one niche, like if you don't fit into that Bay Area hip hop niche, then you're not gonna fit at all.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like I do appreciate the sound that it provides, but I want to do something a little different. You know, I want to have my own sound, but also come from a unique spot that doesn't have as much love in that area.
Because a lot of people in the Bay sound very similar to one another. Like they all have like very abrasive deliveries and like really hard 808s and just like somewhat off kilter, like sometimes offbeat flows, and it's like it's a very specific sound. And a lot of the time, it's get to the point where like listeners from the Bay only want to hear that from hip hop, and if it's not that, you're not interesting.
And I would be lying to you if I said I could even do that. Like I mean, I could make a song like that if I wanted to, but it probably wouldn't be authentic. It wouldn't be me.
It's not really you.
It would just not. It would feel very forced, and it'd probably be kind of funny.
And there isn't really like alternative hip hop in the Bay Area at all.
No, not really. I mean, like there's obviously there's like the G-Eazy's who made it, and like now 24K Golden who's pretty fire. He does something a little different. That's why I kind of like him.
That's true.
He makes like different music. You know, he's from SF. Like you wouldn't expect that.
It doesn't sound like SF music.
Yeah, right? It doesn't at all, and that's why it's kind of working for him. So,
that is interesting. G-Eazy's like that too. Neither of them sound like they're from the Bay. Like they don't have the same kind of delivery from. But it's more pop infused, and there isn't very much pop rap in the Bay Area at all. Have you recorded any new tracks, since the ones you put out? Like how many tracks are you kind of holding in the vault right now?
I think I recorded like complete, not that many, but a lot of ideas are on my laptop. I'd say like probably a dozen or 2 dozen probably. Like when it comes to just ideas and things I've gotten, because I have a lot of beats on my laptop, and when I write, I have a whole setup in my room, and I kind of just record my things at FL Studio and get my ideas out, and then when I'm ready to go to the studio or record it anywhere else, because my room isn't really the best for that, I can take those ideas there. You know what I mean? That's where most of my ideas are though, on my laptop. Have you
gotten into production at all, or are you pretty much just?
I make beats here and there, but I wouldn't say I'm like really great at it, and it's not a primary focus because as of right now, I'm trying to just really like finalize my sound, and make something that I think is just perfect in my ears.
Yeah.
Because I still haven't found that. I'm still kind of roaming around in that space. You know what I mean? Because I only have 3 songs out, and I have a fair amount in the vault. But when it comes to the idea I want to push, I'm still looking for that.
Those other tracks that you put out, were those home recorded or were you in the studio?
All home recorded.
Wow.
Actually, no. Sorry, the third one was in the studio. The first 2 were at home in the crib.
Wow, man, that's cool. Did you ever find that like being in the same place kind of helped you creatively because it's like almost a place that's comfortable to you?
Yeah, because I mean I've always liked the home vibe way more because I've been to the studio a fair amount of times, but it's not. It's cool if you want the loud equipment, right? If you want to like slap in the nice speakers that are really expensive and you want to get that whole like crazy feel, that sonic feel in the room. But when it comes to like being authentic, and when it comes to making something that feels real and like just really down to earth and me, the room is just the best vibe. It just feels organic in there. You know what I mean? It doesn't feel any extra or fake.
Yeah, that's interesting too. When you're recording and you're around, do you like a lot of people around, or do you kind of like being in your own creative space?
I prefer being in my space. I'm not against having a lot of people, like because it's been done before. Like I've even recorded songs where people were just in the room like playing like Xbox or something like that. But like I really prefer just kind of locking in myself. I mean, I'm not by myself, but with me or one other person that's trying to really be creative with it. You know what I mean? And kind of focus on it.
That makes a lot of sense. I want to ask you about like some of the art for some of your singles, like Beams particularly. Where did the cover art from Beam come from? Because that was it's a pretty cool image.
Yeah, it was a classic remake from some famous like French artist from like I think 1985, something like that, and it was called "Stay in Touch." And I just found it online one day, and I'm like, "Yo, this is dope. I want to use this," you know, because it was very unique, as you can see. Like I've never seen anything like that. It was a dope piece.
Yeah.
And that's the kind of that's another aesthetic I really like. I like the video game aesthetic, the more digital, like 64-bit type thing. You know what I mean? Like it's just really cool. It's really like retro feel and classic feel, and I like that a lot.
Are you into classical art like that?
I love it.
Wow.
And that's why I think it's really important too that people sleep on. I think cover arts are very important.
Oh yeah.
Like when it comes to like visually appealing things, like people look at covers and they might not even realize it, but subconsciously that like they like it, you know, and that makes them want to click on the song more, and then they'll slap and enjoy the actual tunes on the song as well. You know what I mean? I think the cover art's really important because of that.
Where did the cover art from Never Needed Her come from?
That was just some random online image, to be honest with you.
Wow, it's kind of interesting that a lot of your cover art comes from stuff like that.
Yeah, because I what I did was I just edited it. I added some colors that weren't there before.
Uh-huh.
I changed like the whole tint of the actual picture itself, and did like some minor editing. But that picture was just off Google, to be honest with you.
Wow, that's sick.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but to me, like, I totally see how you take influence from, like, that video game kind of aesthetic. Because a lot of your stuff does feel very, like, 64-bit and, like, from that world. And it's kind of a trippy aesthetic to work with.
It's cool. I like it a lot. And I want to utilize it a lot more. Because I know there's people who like that, too, that have that kind of inspiration, whether it's, like, Pierre Bourne or, like, whoever else that has that, like, classic feel and that more video game type, Super Mario, Sonic type thing. But I want to also apply it to music videos as well. I think it'd be really cool to apply some dope video game concepts and some cool like crossovers between animations and real life colorful events and going back and forth between those stories. So that'd be cool.
You play a lot of games?
I used to, not as much now because right now I'm just grinding and focusing on like really stepping up and advancing. But I want to get back into it though. Like once I have more time and freedom to do, I definitely want to do like Twitch streams.
That'd be
like,
sick.
Yeah, and live streams. Cause I think that shit's so cool. You know, I've seen like T Grizzly and other people just like have fun and play like GTA, role play, or do stuff like that on Twitch. It's like it's fun, and you make money from it too. So
yeah,
it's a win-win.
That's what Logic's doing now.
Exactly.
Logic
He's
streams on
living
Twitch.
it up.
Yeah,
really.
he is, bro.
He actually just won. He just made rap for 10 years.
And got out.
Cashed out. Went to Montana.
Got a
with
kid.
His wife, had a kid. He just shoots guns and drives dirt bikes. That's like a vibe for me. Really.
That's the dream, and I mean, like he does like pop his head back in when he wants to. Like he does some like production here and there, but it's all like on like his own terms. Like he can do it when he wants, and when he doesn't want to, he just doesn't.
He was one of the people that really like pushed me into actually doing music back in the day. Cause I started listening to him in 8th grade, 2013. Cause that was when he dropped "Welcome to Forever," which was a dope tape. I don't know if you heard it.
Yeah.
It's on SoundCloud only.
I've heard the single.
Yeah, it was dope.
With the vocalist, yeah.
It was hard.
That's a sick single.
And then he dropped his debut, Under Pressure, and then he dropped Incredible True Story after that. And those were like the albums that really was like, yo, this is kind of inspiring me to like actually not just listen to music and consume it, but make it. That was one of the sounds I really loved.
Were there any other early artists that really made you want to make music?
Kanye West.
Yeah.
It's not even a question.
Just I feel like that's a pretty common answer.
He's dope. And Kendrick was cool too. I mean, honestly, it's like mainly it was Logic and Kanye West. Those two people. Really random duo, surprising.
Yeah, it makes sense though.
When it came to making it, when it came to listening first though, like the first rappers I ever listened to was Kanye, Eminem, and 50 Cent. And that was in like 2007, 2008 time when like Encore came out and Graduation and like Get Rich or Die Trying came out. But the funny thing is though, rap wasn't even my first genre too. The first like actual genre I listened to was like classic rock. I remember back in the day when I was with my dad, like when I was like 5 or 4 years old in the East Coast, like I would listen to Leonard Skinner all the time, Queen, you know what I mean, AC/DC, and that was like the first like stuff I actually got into, and then rap came like shortly after that.
That's cool that you kind of pull from all those different places, because I feel like it's funny, like your visuals look like they don't look like traditional hip hop visuals, regardless of the fact that your music is definitely through and through. It sounds like hip hop, but it's like it's almost like pairing visuals that aren't like super hip hop with like music that is super hip hop, and that's pretty interesting to me.
That's why I think it's dope, dog. I think it's dope to just blend ideas and blend genres, you know, and that's what I'm so excited to get into.
Yeah,
that's what I'm really, really excited to get into, actually.
100%.
That's the biggest thing on my mind every single day.
It's just like, how can I take something that's totally obscure and mix it with this thing and just take different worlds and make them collide.
And that's why I just can't wait until I just gradually, obviously, get better and better at what I'm doing and able to fund myself more and more to where I can actually bring out my ideas to life in videos way better. You know, because like I've done a couple of videos, and that one promo video I did recently was cool, but I know I can do a lot more than that. You know, when it comes to just having more resources and having more ideas and getting more, just overall like better at what I'm doing.
Yeah, I'm excited to see it.
I'm really excited for it.
Skating's is a big part of your life, right? You're a big skater, right?
Well, see here, I'm not gonna say I'm a skater.
Yeah.
I'll be kind of capping if I did that, because I can't do an ollie. I can't do tricks. I like longboarding though. I like skating around, like just cruising. That's what I would do a lot as a kid, and also still every now and then in downtown LA. But yeah, I cruise a lot on the longboard.
So when you were living back in the Bay, you were doing that a lot?
Yeah, I was also biking a lot too. I had a fixie for the longest time.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Like mountain biking or like street biking and stuff, like BMX?
Biking. Street biking.
Okay. Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah.
I've always wanted to get into skating and stuff like that. I never could.
See, like, it's hard. I'm not gonna lie to you. Like, doing an ollie and all that shit's hard. Like, I can't do that. Like,
Sometimes I'll like
stuff like that.
Yeah.
Also, eating shit hurts so much. Like, I've eaten a lot of shit on a skateboard before. It's not fun, as you know.
I've like skated around SF before, just like cruising around. That's pretty fun to do. Yeah, it's dope. Like late at night.
That is the best vibe. You just see all the lights and everything. That's like how LA is too. That's why I love downtown LA. I think it's the best vibe. Just have my AirPods in, even after work or whatever I'm doing. Just go out and skate. I've been doing it a lot more recently, and it's just it feels very freeing to me. I don't know. It's a really nice like therapeutic activity I like doing.
100%. I was looking through all the tracks in your SoundCloud, and most of them seem produced by different people. So I was wondering how you usually meet these producers. Like, is it just different ways, different connections, or how do you usually get those?
Well, either they're personal people that I know, because like one of them was Jake, Jago, that you interviewed. He produced the song Gnarly that came out on SoundCloud and on Spotify. And that was like a person I just knew from back home, you know, when it comes to growing up and stuff like that. And then when it comes to other producers, it's really just a matter of hitting them up online, you know, just like through email or DM saying like, hey, you know, I fuck with your sound, like, can I get a beat pack, can I get a this and that, and then see whatever they offer you. And then you can make some really cool stuff. But when it comes to most things I've done, it's been really produced at home. And as of recently, I've been exploring producing with other people that I haven't met yet, or I haven't met out here. But when it comes to what I have released, it's all been at home base or online. Are
people usually cool about that kind of stuff when you reach out? You're like, okay, get a pack, like, I mess with your sound, like.
Yeah, they're cool. It's just a matter of finding the right people, because a lot of people want to overcharge you.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of people will charge you like $1,000 for one beat.
It's ridiculous.
You know, which is crazy. Which is why, like, I mean, I get it. You know, you get at what you're doing, but you gotta understand, like, I'm not like Drake. You know, like, what am I paying like $50,000 for a beat? Like. I'm just trying to get a nice beat and make a song with them. If it becomes a hit, then you win also.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You get royalties, and, you know, you get the clout of having, I produced this hit song. You know?
I think a lot of producers don't think about that when they're sending out beats.
Because the sad part is about the whole industry is really about money.
I know a lot of people who like early producers, they would just send out beats for free and just send beat packs for free to try to do that same thing. Like why is his name escaping me right now? Nick Mira. Nick Mira did that a lot. I heard, like, when he was younger, just kind of up and coming producer. Yeah. He would just send like huge packs to a bunch of different artists he messed with. Some that were big, some that weren't. But it's like he realized that if you're sending him all these beats, eventually if they find something they like, you win too.
You win. You're a producer. You made that song. You are 50% of that song.
Yeah.
You're literally the other half. Like, I mean, even with Juice WRLD, like, before he blew up, he was just some kid from Chicago, right? And Nick Mira knew him online. They didn't even meet, because I don't even think they're from the same area. And then he just sent them beats, you know what I mean? And then one of them happened to be All Girls Are the Same. One of them happened to be Lucid Dreams. And then, as you know how that turned out.
And it's just, you never know, too. That's the weird thing about the internet. It's like, you can just send somebody something you made in your room and they'd be a millionaire the next day. You just never know.
Also, it's low-key, like, the beautiful thing about the internet. It's like, you can meet people and start a whole new life and a whole new, like, relationship just based on somebody you met on the internet. You know what I mean?
It's a crazy time. Like, it's a weird time to live in. Like, because we're the first, like, generation of like creatives that have really had the ability to do that.
It's crazy because we grew up on it. You know, we were around obviously when it wasn't as fresh, but it was just starting out. You know, so imagine how it's gonna be when like the next generation comes up. The people that are growing up 20 years from now that are like here with all the stuff that we took so long to get. You know what I mean? When it comes to even like phones were a very new thing, and now like people are growing up with just having like an iPhone right now, like at 4 years old. I remember when I was like 8, I got my first like flip phone. You know, and that was also still revolutionary compared to how it was for like our parents back in the day. You know what I mean? So
50, it's like people 50 years ago. If you tried to explain to them how like how like a podcaster makes money, or like how a
No,
YouTuber
I'm not
like
gonna get it.
yeah, or even like somebody who like mixes and masters music fully online. If you tried to explain that to somebody, they wouldn't understand. They would literally it'd be like you're speaking a different language. They would have no idea what you mean.
Because and like I can't really fault them for it because they didn't grow up on it. They don't know. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
for example, I'll talk to my mom about stocks and she'll think I'm talking crazy. Like she's like, I don't know how this makes any sense. Like 100,000 this fast? Like it's like it can happen. It's just about making the wise like investments and right choices. You know what you do, and it's I don't know, it's crazy. The internet's crazy.
You on that crypto game?
100%, dog. 100%. Dogecoin's going crazy.
Dude, I gotta get into crypto. I've been invested.
Dog.
I've been invested in the market for like 3 years now.
Yeah.
And it's like I've been investing in individual stocks for a long time, but
Yeah, like I'm all in that Dogecoin, the AMC, the GME, you know, just a little sauce. I'm not a financial advisor. I say on camera, you know, because a lot of people say stuff. It's like, nah, like you know, that's what I'm in. But I'm not advising anybody to do.
You made a little money yet?
I have made some money.
You say like you made nothing. You're like, yeah.
No, I mean, it's
You know, it's like-
I want to be humble about it, but
Yeah.
it's been a decent amount. I'm not gonna lie. I'm pretty happy about it, especially Dogecoin. I ain't gonna lie, like I'm not a financial advisor again, but Dogecoin is fire. I'm
To
telling
the
you that.
moon.
It's fire. I really think so. Right now it's a little low, which is the perfect time to buy.
It's low right now. We're in a dip.
It's at like 20 something right now, 20 cents.
Might have to get in on
It
it.
hit 70 cents at one point.
Might have to hop in, bro.
Yeah, I got a lot in there. But yeah, and the Dogecoin to the moon, all that stuff, shit's crazy.
And you're working jobs right now too, right?
Yeah, of course. I'm constantly bouncing between jobs, trying to like elevate. Because every single job I get, I'm trying to get a higher pay. And then I'm also on backstage right now too, where I'm trying to just like get any kind of job I can on set. Because that's what backstage is. It's basically a plug to connect yourself on any jobs, whether it's you doing behind the scenes and lighting, being a personal assistant, or doing even something on camera. You could be in a commercial, for example, and like. It can range from, but what I'm doing that for is not typically the pay. Because right now my regular job is paying the bills. You know, it's allowing me to live here. But when it comes to that, I'm going there, and I'm obviously gonna make money. But it's more about the connections. You know what I mean? Because you go on set, you go and work with these people. When it comes to what they do with cameras, what they do with just anything in film, you will meet a lot of people that are important. You meet a lot of people that you can connect with and eventually develop a relationship with and work with and do something crazy with in the future. You know what I mean?
No, 100%. Has working that 9 to 5 life kind of inspired you to really, really work hard? Because it's like I'm sure it's no fun.
No, it's not fun at all. Like I gotta do what I gotta do.
Yeah.
Obviously, I mean I've been working a job since I was like 15. You know, so I'm kind of used to this already.
Same here.
I was never working this hard though. Like,
Since the day I turned 16, I've been working.
Yeah, exactly. It's been a long time. Like I mean, I remember even in high school when I wanted to get what I really wanted to get. Like I would have to work my ass off. Like and like my car, I got that when I was 18 years old, and I had to save up and miss so many events. Like I missed so many parties, so many basketball games, so many this and that to just save up for what I wanted to get, which was a car.
Yeah.
And it was worth it. You know what I mean? But I got very used to just slaving away, you could say, at the shitty ass 9 to 5s. But every single day I go there, I have the mentality like, okay, we're gonna get out eventually. This is not gonna be forever. This is very temporary.
I can't tell you how often I think about that.
Yeah.
Like when I'm
We
serving
both know how it
tables.
is.
Huh?
We both know how it is.
Yeah, bro. It's
Exactly.
like when I'm serving tables, I just think about, or I'm sweeping the floor or whatever. I'm like,
So, you know,
damn, I'm gonna be looking back in 10 years from now. I'm gonna say I used to wait tables at a restaurant.
Yeah, because it just feels like a waste of your purpose. It's like, dog, I know I'm here for something way higher than this. You know what I mean? And that's not a disrespect to people that do work those jobs, because those people are important. We need those people in our lives. You know what I mean? Like, what would we be without the people at 7-Eleven, the people at this and that? Like, they help us with our services, right? But it's like, me personally, that is not what I want to do at all. And even when it comes to me getting like a high paying, I wouldn't even say high paying, but like a normal office job or something like that. Because when I say 9 to 5, I'm not talking about just the low end 9 to 5. But
Yeah.
even in general, the idea of just like working, and then, you know, I'm able to retire when I'm 65, and that's when I'm happy. You know what I mean? That's when I'm able to succeed in the American dream.
It's like for what?
Yeah, it's like I worked my ass off. I got 2 weeks of vacation a year until I'm 65, and then I can retire when I'm too old to enjoy anything. It's like, dog, that is not it. That is not the way to me. So that's why I think about every single day. Like, as I'm trying to get better at what I'm doing, when I go to that job, I think about that every single day.
And it's bizarre that we like idolize that life.
Yeah.
Like we look at that life and we're like, oh yeah,
It's
like,
like, oh yeah,
that's the
that
dream.
person won. That person really, they did their part, huh?
Yeah.
It's like, nah, like that's not it. It's not, to me at least. I mean, maybe if somebody's happy doing that, then I can't really say that, because like happiness is
It's the biggest thing,
it's
yeah.
a very subjective thing. If they're happy, then why not? But the way I see it is, I feel like most people that are in that kind of lifestyle chose to be like complacent or content. You know what I mean? Like they are not happy, but they're not upset. They're kind of just existing, you know. And I don't want to like just exist. I want to live.
I feel that. I think
You know
about
what I
that a
mean?
lot. It's like I don't want to.
Living,
I,
not existing. It's a
Yeah,
big thing.
exactly. I mean,
Yeah.
they're two different things. Like it sounds like they're synonyms, but
No,
they're two different
they're
things. It's like
drastically different things, dog.
yeah,
Like same thing is like, for example, this might be a little different, but hearing versus listening. If you really think about that,
yeah,
there's a
also
lot
two
of
different
people.
things.
We could have a whole conversation about some important thing, right? But and you could hear me, but if you are really listening to what I'm saying, like what if you're talking to somebody and trying to understand their problems, right? And you just hear what they're saying, it doesn't matter because it's not really resonating with you. You're not really feeling what they're saying. You're not really listening and able to come back with the actual response that they need to hear.
Yeah,
You know
because
what
you
I
can
mean?
go in one ear right at the other, opposed to
Exactly.
somebody like really taking in what you're saying,
Mhm.
internalizing it, and then finding what their response is. Like
Exactly.
really figuring out what they think about what you're saying.
Exactly, and that's what I'm saying. Those little like possible synonyms that they sound like they're the same, but really not. And you gotta think about that. It's like, do you want to live or do you want to exist? And I feel like most people would struggle to answer that question. Surprisingly enough, you would think everybody wants to live, everybody wants to do that, but there's a lot of people who are very content because they're too scared to take that extra step. You know what I mean? That's a big problem. It's like the mental block we were talking about earlier. It's literally this wall, this opposing enemy you have is you every single time.
It's hard to make that jump. It's hard to say like
It is hard. It's
I'm
very hard.
I'm gonna cut everything. I'm gonna quit my job and drop out of school.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna move somewhere and
It's
pursue
hard,
what I
bro.
want.
The hardest part about the journey is the leap. That's always been the hardest part.
Oh,
Think about it.
yeah.
When you are on the cliff, right? To like go cliff jumping and jump in that lake, right? The hardest part is you actually jumping in that lake. Once you jump it in midair, it's gonna go by really fast, and then you're in the water, and then bam, you had a good time. You know what I mean? But the hardest part was making that jump off the cliff every single time.
And even beyond like just finding in yourself, it's like
Yeah.
being scared what other people are gonna think. It's like, are people gonna judge you? Or are people gonna say this? Like, how's everybody around me gonna respond?
It's like, dog, fuck all that, bro. Like, everybody's gonna die one day. Who cares? You know, like if somebody doesn't like what you're doing, okay, bye.
Yeah, it's
You know what I mean?
hard.
It's not really okay. Like I've heard my fair share of things that people have said behind my back or to my face, and it's at first there was a time when I cared about it a lot. I would be lying to you if I said I didn't, but I learned to just grow past that stage. You know what I mean? Especially in the quarantine time, that's when I really learned how to like hone in what's really important and not give a shit about what anybody has to say.
At the end of the day, what people think about your life isn't gonna affect your life.
It's not at all.
What you care about with the situation
all,
you're
bro.
in and
Genuinely.
what you're doing to advance it is going to make the impact.
And also, people come and go. Like,
Yeah.
somebody could say they hate what you're doing and judge you, and then you won't see them ever again for the next 20 years, if even that. Like, it doesn't matter. There's opinions. They only hold you down with the energy you give it. You know what I mean?
And happiness is personal too, right?
It is.
It's like
Personal,
you
subjective.
can be completely happy with everybody around you hating you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's really it's a personal thing, and it's like internalizing what really brings you joy.
It's just a matter of finding out what's really important, what really makes you happy, and also doing what you want to do, which I feel is a big problem. That's what
And
I'm
being
saying.
fulfilled.
And I would not be fulfilled if I wasn't doing everything I wanted to do.
Yeah.
I'm just wasting my time. 'Cause like you said earlier, you want to do something that has an impact. You want to do something that like leaves a mark and a legacy. You know what I mean? You don't want to just going back to it.
Live
exist.
to live, yeah.
Exactly. Right. You want
Yeah,
to
exist.
have an impact and do something that like leaves a mark that even after you're gone, it's still there. It's still leaving some kind of energy, which is really important.
It's like making sure the world is different because you were on it.
100%.
And that's a
100%.
tough thing to do. I was listening through a lot of the other stuff you've done. I saw your feature on Jake's track that was on his project.
Yeah,
Are you trying to do more features like that in the future? Like, is that
Yes.
something you're looking into recently?
That's a classic. Yep, I am 100% because, like I said, collaborations are crazy important. I think it's really fun because you get to expand your sound and collab with somebody else's who might either be similar to you or drastically different. And either way, you can make something really cool each time. You know what I mean? As long as you are obviously both committed. And that song was really cool. That was an old song. That was like one of the first like verses I ever recorded and actually put out.
Has anybody reached out to you and asked you to do a feature on their track yet?
Yeah, one person.
That's dope, man.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool. That's really cool.
Collabs.
Hell yeah. In what ways do you feel like you've improved since you started making music?
I've gotten a lot better at writing. And I've also improved in my confidence because I feel like that's a really big thing that a lot of people have to develop at the beginning is being actually confident in what you're saying. Because when you are on a mic, right, even if you're talking, for example, like what we're doing right now, or recording an actual song, you need to have that energy. You know, you need to be a little like loose. You need to not be nervous because people can pick up on that. You can be comfortable. People can understand and see right through that if you are nervous on camera, if you are nervous on the mic.
Hell yeah.
You know what I mean? It's something you can easily pick up on, and then that ruins the quality of what you're trying to put out. And that's something that I struggled with at first. Like there was a time when I couldn't even record in front of people. I was like going through just constant like we said earlier, like just battles in my head of worrying what other people thought. And once again, it does not matter at all. And from that point on to now is something else I really developed. It's just like constantly getting better confidence and not caring what other people have to say.
I think a lot of that comes too with just doing what you do around as many people as possible, as much as possible. Yeah. It's like, to me, because I'm still not very confident, like when I'm podcasting or like I'm doing an interview like this. It's like
it's hard.
It's hard. It's really hard to be confident.
It's not easy for everybody to be on camera. There's actually people think it's easy to just be like a successful artist or whatever and just have the constant eyes on you and the constant this and that. It's like, it's cool, but it's like it's not. It's pretty nerve wracking sometimes when you have a bunch of cameras on you, when you have a bunch of people looking at you, when you have a bunch of people doing that, this and that.
Especially when you think about the fact that the majority of honestly, a gigantic portion of musicians now are kids.
Yeah.
And it's like these are full grown adults in tabloids watching how these kids move, and it's like if you think a 19-year-old girl isn't gonna care about a comment that some 40-year-old creep leaves on her Instagram post, you're crazy.
It's wild. People will actually hate on kids.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? For example, even you look at the Charlie D'Amelio, the D'Amelio twins on TikTok, right?
Yeah.
They're 16, 17 years old. They're some kids. They're literally some kids, and they have 50 million people following them.
And that's a million judging them.
Yeah, exactly. And it's think about how many eyes you have on you and you're still in high school. It's
Hell yeah.
I know me. When I was that age, I probably do some wild shit, but I don't know. It would not be good for me probably.
I did. If I was famous when I was 16 years old, oh my god.
I was such a drastically different person, and it's crazy to think about how that age gap is not that large. But these are the defining years when it comes to your mind and learning who you are and being the person that you're gonna be for the rest of your life is these defining years between I feel 15 and 23, I'd say.
Yeah.
It's around that kind of gap. Because I assume you're drastically different from how you were even 2 years ago.
Dude, thinking about the way that I thought 2 years ago, I would call myself stupid. I don't want to think like that, but it's I
slapped the hell out of the old me, to be honest.
Yeah.
I don't know.
If this me could have a conversation with me 3 years ago and talk about our opinions on certain things, I'd slap the shit out of my old self. I'd be like, you're an idiot. Why? Well, you're stupid.
Yeah, because it's not even the opinions are whack. It's just I'd say overall the mindset, the person I was and the things I thought that were okay to do and the things that I thought were
me too, bro.
To work on.
Yeah.
Because back then I didn't even know what I wanted to do in my life. I didn't even know who I was. I knew the things I liked and the hobbies I had, but I didn't know that I would be crazy dedicated to one thing. You know what I mean? Because that's hard to find. A lot of people don't know what they want to do until they're 35, which is fine because there's certain people who go at certain paces. But it's wild to think there are some people who will start their lives really, really late. I personally don't want to be that kind of person though. Yeah. I'm kind of in a rush for it. Not in a bad rush, but more in I have the drive to get it as fast as possible and work as hard as I can to get to that.
Mm-hmm.
Because I want to be successful and I want to achieve everything I want to do relatively young.
Yeah, I agree. And it's weird to think about too, how different perspectives kind of strengthen how you feel about specific things and just alter how you view the world. For me, just moving forward and just getting more and more experiences, I can just really try to understand others' perspectives and learn and just say I've also learned over the years. I mean, not that I'm aged and old. I'm 19 years old, but it's I've learned that it's a lot easier to look at somebody else's perspective, try to understand why they feel that way, and accept it, than completely disregard it as untrue or regard it as something that you totally disagree with. Because it's pretty. Yeah. It's to me, it's I don't think there has to be a wrong and a right person in every situation.
Bless
oh my
you.
God!
Bless you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
But I'm saying for example, if I feel one type of way about something, you feel another type of way about something. It's I don't think in every situation one of us is right and the other one's wrong. Sometimes I just think there's two perspectives and two different ways to look at it.
Every story, have you seen that one picture? It's a metaphor. It's there's a 6 on the ground and there's two people looking at it from the bottom to the top. And it's one person sees a 9 and one person sees a 6. It doesn't mean that either person is wrong. It just means that there's different perspectives.
Did you know that's why 6ix9ine's name is like that?
No, I saw that too. That was pretty funny.
Yeah.
It's probably not that deep though. I think he just made that up.
On the spot?
Who knows? I have no idea. But that ideal, that picture, it resonates with me a lot too. It's dog, there's different opinions. It does not mean that either person's wrong. Obviously, there's certain things you can be wrong about, that. Yeah. Come on now. But when it comes to pure opinionated things, it's okay, you have that, I have mine.
I saw that, bro. When I saw that and I saw 6ix9ine say that, I'm like, fuck. I wish this dude didn't just say something intelligent because I really want to hate him.
Yeah, exactly.
He's a clown.
Yeah, forget about him.
Yeah. But that idea is really interesting. It's you can look at one thing and I can look at one thing. We can see it completely different ways based on the ways that we were brought up, based on what we're from, based on who we're around. And it's I don't have to be right. You don't have to be right. I don't have to be wrong. You don't have to be wrong. Two of these things could just mutually exist, and we could have different thoughts and perspectives on them.
And these are the biggest problems with the world, dog, because there's too many people who are prideful and let ego run their lives, and we can't have a difference of opinion. That's why so much shit happens in the world.
I think tribalism is like the root of like a majority of problems in American society. It's like the idea that we have to split into like two camps. Like you either think about things one way or you think about things this other way. Yeah, and there's nothing in the middle.
There's definitely a way to set aside differences.
I totally agree with that. And I think anybody who tries to separate themselves into camps of people who think in one way or another way is anti-progress. I don't think you want progress in that sense.
I think like the key to life is evolution. I think that's like the biggest thing for our existence is to constantly just evolve and get better.
And recreating yourself.
As a unit. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Obviously, especially as a creator, I think about that every day when it comes to my craft. But overall, even as a human being, like that's very important because, like I said, being perfect would be boring. You know, having a stagnant lifestyle would make no sense. It feel like there's no point to even be alive if you're not evolving and getting better.
How do you feel like looking at yourself right now, what you're making based on what you were making 3 years ago?
Drastically different.
Yeah.
Never even thought I could do it.
Huh.
Never even thought I could do it.
Why is that? Did you just don't think you have the confidence?
That could be partly it. Also, I just didn't put as much time into it. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And also, I wasn't as sure about what I liked and what I didn't like. And it's a whole process of just like finding yourself overall. It's a long process too. I'm nowhere near like finding myself completely, and I feel like it's probably hard to even find yourself completely ever. Like everyone kind of looks for that, even till the end of their life, you know. But when it comes to like my sound, it's really just a process every single day. I'm gonna make different stuff 10 years from now. I'm gonna make different stuff 5 years from now. I'm gonna make different stuff today than I made yesterday. You know, it's a matter of me just experimenting and finding what really sticks.
Yeah, 100%. What do you think the impact you want to leave as an artist is? Like, if you had like one overarching message that you'd want to spread.
Literally, just be someone dope, make dope music, and inspire people to do the same thing. Not just music, but I'm talking about just doing what you want to do, and not worrying about. I don't know, some people going crazy, but just not worrying about people's opinions. I think the biggest thing is be you. I think that could be just the simple thing. Literally, just be you, like, and do what you want to do.
Yeah, you know and I mean, even though I've just met you, it's very easy to tell like you're authentically yourself.
And be a good person.
Yeah, 100%.
That's like the biggest thing too. I feel like it's not a message that's spread enough at all.
Yeah.
Drastically undervalued, sadly.
It's true. I totally agree with that. It's like things override that. It's like greed overrides that.
Exactly.
Publicity overrides that.
Everything. And then, you know, the more success you have and the more things you achieve in any kind of craft, you're going to obviously get your ego inflated a little bit. You know, you're going to feel a little good about yourself that you can buy more expensive meals and you can drive in nicer cars and do all these kind of things, but it doesn't make you any better than the other person.
Yeah, 100%.
You know, somebody on the street that's struggling compared to what you used to be at, because not everyone had the same privilege. You know,
it's all perspective. It's all thinking about like where did this person come from versus where did I come from.
Exactly. That's what I'm gonna try and do for the rest of my life. Just kind of stay grounded.
Yeah.
You know, no matter what happens to me.
I'm trying to get better at that too. Like looking at people and saying, I'm just trying to understand like where could this person have come from versus where I am. Like it's
it too.
Yeah, exactly.
Appreciate it. Like I try to complain less. You know what I mean? Because I feel bad when I do. Because it's like there's people who have way worse than me. Mm-hmm. And there's also people who have way better than me, but that's not reason for me to be upset. It's just what I'm doing.
100%.
You know what I mean?
And I guess like how good your situation is too is it's comparatively subjective in the sense that like you could love the situation you're in, but somebody else could look at you and be like, that person's probably miserable. They don't have this and this and this, and I have this and this and this. Mm-hmm. And I guess somebody could say, oh, and for that reason, they must hate their life.
Yeah.
But you can be super happy with minimal things and minimal people and just small quantities of things in your life. It's like really boiling things down to what makes you happy and what matters to you.
And even if you are in a situation, what I believe is you can't handle the situation you're given, but you can handle how you handle that situation. You know what I mean? For the most part. Like, obviously, you know, people are luckier than others when it comes to certain things that they're given in their lives, but if you want to achieve what you want to achieve, you can still change how you handle the situation. You don't have to be upset about it. You don't have to be in a drought about it and be like, oh, why am I having this? Why am I dealing with this? You know, but you can keep working and keep pushing.
Yeah, and I think it's really, I agree with that, and I think it's important to focus on things that you can control.
Exactly, and obviously you can't control everything that happens in your life, but everything happens for a reason, I believe, as well.
But it's hard to not get wrapped up in things you can't control.
No, it's not, of course. Like, sometimes I'll think about it, too. Like, I'm not God, you know what I mean? Like, I'll be upset sometimes when things happen, but I also got to be realistic. It's like, this was probably going to happen anyway. You know, it happened. I can't change the past, so all I can do now is move forward. You know what I mean? So there's no point in being stuck on it because what are you gonna do? It already happened.
Yeah.
You know.
The only thing you can control is how you react.
Exactly, and how you handle it.
Do you have any plans for future projects soon, like a full length, or an EP or something?
Definitely EP. I would like to do one in the fall. That's my goal, and get a couple singles out in the summer.
That's exciting, man. Yeah, and I'm pumped to hear it, dude. I appreciate you sitting down with me. I appreciate you having this conversation. I think it went in a lot of cool different directions, and I like it, man.
Yeah.
Appreciate you, man.
I appreciate you for having me.
Yeah, for sure. All right.
Down here.
Yes, sir. Music matters.